If we assume that God exists, we are still left with a question of relationship. Is God far away or intimate and close? Does God leave us when we act selfishly or stay with us through every moment of our life? How does God feel about us? Does God love us all the time or only when we are good? My topic today is the closeness of God. A year ago or so, I was extremely pleased to find the book Original Goodness, Strategies for Uncovering Your Hidden Spiritual Resources by the late Eknath Easwaran. Easwaran was a Fulbright scholar from India who came to America in the 60s and founded the Blue Mountain Center of Meditation in Tomales, California. Sri Easwaran taught passage meditation, which is the practice of memorizing passages of sacred text and then repeating them often throughout the day. He also taught the mindfulness practice of repeating a mantra or holy name, such as the Jesus Prayer, as a way of centering oneself during the bustle of daily life. I was tremendously excited to see that I had inadvertently adopted his method of meditation with a practice that I call the God Prayer, and could attest to its profound effect. The God Prayer is a simple prayer that has evolved for me over many years and now consists of the phrase, "Dear beloved, we embrace." Sri Easwaran's book, Original Goodness, is a reflection on the Beatitudes from the Sermon on the Mount and is filled with lovely quotes from the early Christian mystics, such as this one from Meister Eckhart. "You need not seek God here or there. He is no farther off than the door of the heart. There he stands and waits until he finds you ready to open and let him in. You need not call him from a distance. To wait until you open for him is harder for him than for you. He needs you 1,000 times more than you can need him. Your opening and his entering are but one moment." I have become deeply attracted to the belief that God is present in all things and in every person, that God is all there is, and that God is an indwelling God who loves us more than we imagine. Part of my daily prayer is the phrase, "Dear beloved, you are all of me, and I am part of you." I believe that since God is all of me, that means that God is present with me at all times, truly omnipresent. Thus, when I am kind to someone, it is not just I who is being kind, but God is within me, being kind through me and as me. For that reason, I now take the view that it's accurate for me to say that we, that is, God and I, do everything together. We love together, we write together. Thus, I affirm the statement, "Deus est auctor amoris et decoris." God is the author of love and beauty. We watch a sunset together. God is also present as I act selfishly, allowing me to drive the car, so to speak, watching and sadly enduring as I do something wrong. One might question how God can be all of me, or anyone, when we are so far from God's standard of love. How can God be all of a person when that person commits heinous crimes? If we accept the law of conservation of energy, that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, as reported in the Scientific American on August 5th, 2014 by Clara Moskowitz, and if we accept that God is the only source of the universe, then we must also accept that all energy and created beings are part of the infinite web of God's essence. Moskowitz wrote, "The universe itself is a closed system, so the total amount of energy in existence has always been the same. The forms that energy takes, however, are constantly changing." To me, the crux of the issue is human freedom. God, having created the human spirit and imbued it with free will, must watch as each person, each particle of God, embarks on a personal journey that may not include the recognition that the person's soul and body are formed from God's essence and love. Since all energy is part of God, one could say that the fabric of the soul of each person is part of God. Thus, God is present in every synapse that fires in the brain and mind of the person, even when the person's free will takes him or her into dark places that God does not want them to visit. Only the potential of sacred, creative love could outweigh the risk of tragedy that comes with human freedom. It may seem like a foolish risk, but if one considers that humans are created from the essence of God's love and beauty, the odds are eventually weighted in favor of love. Mystics like Mechthild of Magdeburg wrote that we are made of love. In my prayer one evening, as I struggled to love someone, I felt God say, "There is one thing that allows me to love someone, anyone. I know what they are made of. They are made of love. Their energy patterns, their atoms and cells, their essence and soul, they are made of love." We are each a part of God, a flowering of one particle of the infinite God that is entirely unique. That particle of God that becomes each of us allows us to have a profoundly personal relationship with a part of God that no one else shares. I read with great delight the book A Tree Full of Angels, Seeing the Holy in the Ordinary, by Sister Macrina Wiederkehr from the St. Scholastica Monastery, a community of Benedictine sisters in Arkansas. I immediately adopted her use of the phrase incarnational spirituality to clarify my own burgeoning awareness that God is always present in us and in fact has incarnated as us. Recently, after consulting a Latin scholar at Queen's College and the University of Cambridge in England for the correct translation, I've started using the term Homo incarnatus, or incarnational man, to describe human beings. I've also added this phrase to my daily prayer. Your incarnation as me allows me to say that we are love, we are peace, we are serenity. Sister Macrina wrote that the incarnational aspect of Christianity reminds us that all of life is full of God. God is in all. In the same volume she wrote, "Yet, at the same time, I am attracted to an incarnational spirituality, finding God fleshed out in everything, embracing all as good, celebrating, loving, living, and cherishing life, leaving the blessing of myself in Christ everywhere I go, finding heaven at my fingertips. Incarnational spirituality encourages me to take my false self to the divine heart with eyes wide open. Since nothing but good can fit in the heart of God, my false self will have to get lost somewhere between God and me, between heaven and earth. Perhaps, after all, this is a more exciting way of losing myself, to take my entire self to the heart of God, knowing that what is pure will remain." I love the idea that loving God and taking my entire self into the embrace of God are acts of purification. It is a comfort beyond words to realize that it is indeed God's love that will allow me to grow and gradually become more mature. If sin is defined as thoughts and actions that are separated from God, then living in resonance and harmony with God's embrace of love is, to me, the very thing that I must focus on. Granted, for a person to believe that God is waiting for us to open the door of our heart, as Eckhart said, One must believe that God is the creative source of kindness and compassionate love, rather than a judgmental, fearsome God who will have nothing to do with us unless we follow certain rules and laws. I have decided to believe in a God who is kind and loving toward all, both believers of any religion and unbelievers, a God who embraces all without exception, whatever their status. I believe this because I see evidence of kindness and compassionate love all around me, in nature, of course, but also in people. Yes, people can lose their way and become unspeakably cruel. In spite of that, even a heartless killer is capable of unexpected kindness. If humans had not been given free will, we would not see humans sometimes acting more viciously than the most dangerous animals. However, it is also our free will that allows us to respond with creative love to the God who waits for our hearts to open. Creative love, freely given, means so much more than love on autopilot, given without free will. The sorrow of free will has been unfathomable. Yet, since love and beauty and kindness are still present in the world, it leads me to the inescapable conclusion that God's love for all of us is so strong and so immense that all of us, no matter what our conditions, are able to access God's love the moment that we open the door of our hearts. Thank you for watching. I invite you to subscribe, leave a comment, click on the like button, and share this video with 2 or more friends. You can follow me on Twitter at @Falkenbrown and email me at peterbrown@worldcommunity.com. I'm very grateful for all your support. I could not do it without you. So, until next time, love and blessings, and thank you.